Here we are then. This is the situation. We have 3 riders up the road. Nelson Oliveira of Movistar, Simon Clark of Israel Premier Tech, and Frederick Frisson of Lotto Destiny. The situation really before this point was that everybody was having their procession. Victor Campanaerts went and attacked off the gun pretty much, just to get up the road and show that he deserves the combativity award that he received. We had various attacks from riders once we got into Paris, most notably Michal Kwiatkowski, and then Tadej Pogacar in the white jersey decided to have a little bit of a crack for glory. He brought Nathan van Hooijdonk with him, who did not take he took barely a single turn. But yeah, they got brought back. It was a great group that included the likes of Pollitt and Bettiol, which probably would have gone all the way if Van Hooijdonk was going to pull, but in the end it didn't. And now we have this situation. Oliveira of Movistar and Frederick Frisson of Lotto Destiny joined Simon Clark, who made the first attack away from the peloton. And there's just over 25 kilometres left of the stage and left of the Tour de France, a Tour de France that has captivated at almost every opportunity, but it's ended up with an incredibly large winning margin from the only Jonas Vingegaard. Of course, yellow jersey is sealed, green jersey is sealed, white jersey is sealed, and King of the Mountains jersey is sealed, so no need to get too excited if you're looking for a jersey scrap on the final day. It's all down to the sprinters. So that is the situation we're at the moment, and I'm about to get my coverage back, so hopefully they won't cut for ads anymore. We are in the Champs-Élysées circuit. We have done a couple of laps already, 3 to go until we end this Tour de France. And I've got a few things planned for after the end of the race. We'll go into Tier Maker, or the tier list website, and we'll review every team, and not every rider, but some of the leaders of the teams and how they performed at the Tour this year. So that's what we're going to look forward to. But what the riders are going to look forward to is a nice rest at the end of this race. But for the sprinters, there is no rest on this final day. The party is over, and it's time to clear up and go back home. Not long left of the stage then. Still, the 3 riders are up the road. You'd expect them to be caught by the sprinters team soon, who found it very difficult to control. Søren Kragh Andersen was really on the ropes when the Pollitt, Pogacar, Bettiol and Van Hooijdonk group went up the road, but Van Hooijdonk not pulling kind of ruined that. But yeah, that is the situation. We've got a couple of rider quotes from after yesterday. We'll go into that, and then we will finally take us into the Champs-Élysées finale with a little bit of commentary added on with it. Unlike a couple of years ago, my microphone is indeed on. So when I called the finale, I think 2021, my mic wasn't on. So that was embarrassing. But it's on now, and I've got coverage back, so that is lovely. We've got a view of the Eiffel Tower, plenty of people on the top of that, perhaps watching the race come around. And around Norwegian Corner go the front 3. Oliveira drops to the back, lets go of the wheel of Frisson a little bit, but Simon Clark is forcing the pace. Oliveira should be able to get back to the wheel of the big Belgian on Lotto Destiny, and does. And the group of 3 have got 16 seconds on the peloton. A peloton that I think is being led by either Skjelmose, it was a red jersey, Skjelmose the Danish champion, or Uno X, that would be. But we're still somewhat in party mode, I think. Fancy artsy shots are going to make way for Blood and Thunder fairly shortly. I think it's actually an EF jersey on the front, the bright pink. But the streets are crammed, everybody's packed in. and ready to watch the final of this Tour de France 2023. It's been a great tour. Pidcock is on the back of the peloton with Dylan van Baarle. Are Jumbo Visma going to go for Laporte today, or are they going to stick with Vingegaard for a nice photo across the line? That's one of the many questions we'll be asking in this finale. But let's have a look at what the riders were saying after yesterday's stage, a day in which Pogacar finally looked himself again and got one over on Vingegaard, if not, well, Vingegaard's got one over on him throughout the tour. But Pogacar got the stage win to move him onto 2-1 ahead in the tour. Here's what Trevor Vermaarke had to say. He was in the early breakaway of the day. He said, "Stage 20, the last real day. It was a short one, but a really explosive one. Yesterday I kind of cracked a bit mentally. I was already thinking about Monday in my head, and after a big 2 days, Col d'Alaloz in the break and pulling the whole day yesterday, it kind of got in my head a little bit. I suffered a lot yesterday. On paper, it didn't look like the hardest day, but I don't know if I've ever suffered that much on a bike. As soon as you cross the finish line, you're sitting in the bus thinking, I could have pushed for 30 more seconds, or if I'd done this, I'd have made the front group." He then went on to say, "Today I wanted to go out and have no regrets. I really wanted to make sure I was in the break, and it was a hard start. It's crazy what the mental state can do, because yesterday I was feeling the worst I've ever felt, and today I had good legs again. I just tried to play it smart in the beginning. On that second climb of the day, I could bridge across to the front. I didn't last too long in the break. I think when we got to the Petit Ballon, I had to let the wheel go, but I have no regrets today. I ran out of legs in the end, but I put myself in the position to be up there. I'm pretty proud, to be honest. Rolling onto the Champs-Élysées tomorrow is going to be special. It's the Tour de France. It's the highest level. There's nobody who's not at 100% here, and it's the biggest names in the sport. To be up there gives me a lot of confidence, some more self-belief, and shows me I can do it. I think I can recover from this race. I think once I recover from this race, I'm going to be a lot stronger. For now, I'm just going to relax, enjoy it, and really soak in tomorrow." Well, there's not much chance of soaking in tomorrow anymore, Kevin, because we have an attack from Soudal Quickstep. I can't exactly work out who that is, but it's Intermarché Circus Wanty chasing, and it's Dries Devenaens on his final year in the peloton. He's retiring at the end of the year, the 39-year-old on Soudal Quickstep. The Belgian has made a dash for it to the front group, and it's down to Intermarché Circus Wanty to put the pressure on. Giulio Ciccone is second wheel in the King of the Mountains jersey. He's going to be trying to do a job for Mads Pedersen come the end of this stage. Probably is going to try and reel them in, and that will be his job before he hands over to the serious lead-outs like Alex Kirsch and Jasper Stuyven. Around the Arc de Triomphe they go. They've got less than 3 laps remaining now, the peloton. They'll be all looking forward to a Baz Tietema pizza at the end of the race. Devenaens is in a chasse patate at the moment as Ciccone comes to the front to chase him and the trio ahead of him down. Round the Arc de Triomphe they go then. It's all together. Dries Devenaens has almost been caught, and the junction is now made 15 seconds to the front of the race while we're on the back straight of this final finishing circuit. Simon Yates had a busy stage yesterday. Both the Yates brothers did. He said, "I was actually quite lucky I had Adam Yates there over the top of the climb. We could collaborate and come back to the front guys, so at least we have a chance to try and win the stage. It's difficult when you have such fast guys there, but I prefer to have the chance than not. It's the first Grand Tour in a while where I have not had any injuries, sickness or bad luck, so I'm very happy. It's been a tough period to deal with, and finally I've managed to come through with a normal Grand Tour and a normal me. I'm just very happy. I think we were looking for the stage, and with that maybe moving up in the GC was a good combo, but I didn't have the legs to jump across. It wasn't possible, but I think it was good to have Chris Harper there for the option. I think the guys have been fantastic today as well as all throughout the race. It's been a very enjoyable tour. I'm actually quite pleased with it. I lost 40 seconds or so in a stupid crash early doors, but other than that I've been quite good. I had 2 days where I wasn't 100%. I suffered a little bit in the heat, but it wasn't a disaster, so I'm quite happy. We tried today, we tried every day, and we've still got one more chance with Dylan Groenewegen tomorrow. So we'll go all in for that and we'll enjoy our evening. Meanwhile, Adam said we wanted to set Tadej Pogacar up for the stage. We knew if it came to a small group then he's pretty quick, so we tried to keep things under control. It's not easy when it's the last mountain stage and everyone puts in 100%, so we used the whole team to chase. In the final, I managed to catch back up with Simon Yates. He did a pretty good lead out for my capabilities, I did a pretty good lead out for my capabilities, so yeah, good day. Tadej Pogacar probably only had one bad day in the end. It's not easy to be at your best for 3 whole weeks. For him, it's a lot of pressure for the whole year. He starts good and he ends good. For him to have one bad day across the year is a pretty good record. We can come out of this pretty happy, and maybe next year we can go one better. For me personally, 3rd is the best result I've ever had on a Grand Tour, so obviously I'm pretty happy with that. There's a little bit of disappointment because we came here with a goal of getting yellow, but in the end there's only one guy better than us, so I'm happy. I didn't have any bad luck, sickness or anything like this, which is the first time in a long time, so I'm happy. Maybe tomorrow we'll go with Matteo Trentin for the sprint, and then maybe we'll be perfect. But it's been a good tour, so we are happy. Well, Jaco Alula have come to the front of the peloton at the moment. They've been joined by a rider from Intermarché and a rider from Alpecin de Koning. They've all brought forces towards the front. Little Trek 2. Alex Kirsch moving up on the left-hand side. He's trying to get a little bit of time at the front of the peloton to thin this gap down. Frederick Friesson is continuing at the front, but we have a bike parked just to the right of the road. It was a Jaco Alula jersey, but it didn't look like Dylan Groenewegen. As Lilian Calmejean comes to the front to try and thin out this gap and perhaps even thin out the peloton. They'll be going for Biniam Guillaume today. Intermarché Circus Wanty. Alpecin de Koning have Michael Gödel second wheel. I don't know who the third wheel is for Little Trek. I'm going to have a guess and say it's Tony Galopin. We're going to fly through some more of these quotes post yesterday's stage because I started a little bit later today, so we're going to try and get through these as quick as possible so we have them all out of the way, basically, before we talk through the finish. Here's what Tadej Pogacar had to say, the stage winner. Today, I felt like myself again. It was really good from the start to the finish to feel good again after many days of suffering. I'm super happy to pull it off at the finish line. Now we can continue. But no, let's go home. Bit of a Frank Lampard meme there. Adam Yates did super. I was waiting for him and his brother to come back. They were good because I know him well now and he led me out really well. Thanks to him, that was a bit easier and less nervous to prepare for the final. I was happy that the team did such a great job once again. I think the atmosphere in the bus every day will stay as my best memory from this Tour de France. Every time Marc Soler looked behind at me from Col de la Loze with his scary eyes, that was the most terrifying moment of the race for me. When I rode to sign up, I was feeling like myself again. I enjoyed it from kilometre 0 to the finish line. Today gives me so much confidence. We'll analyse everything. When I look back, I think it's a really good tour. Something wasn't right with me in the last few days, though. I can see that I can be there with Jonas. Next year, it will be a big goal to come here again in big shape and try to win. The UAE team principal Mauro Giannetti also kind of shared that view. He said, for us it's an amazing tour. We started by winning the first stage and taking the yellow jersey. Tadej had 1 or 2 bad days and it seemed like everything was done, but he saved second place on Col de la Loze. That was amazing, but he was disappointed. In the team we said, hey Tadej, you're second. You saved your Tour de France on a bad day up the Col de la Loze. You're a champion, go for it and recharge the batteries morally. This morning he was so excited to start this stage and try to win. His teammates and everybody else was excited. We went for it and wow, achieving this victory after what happened only 3 weeks ago is an incredible achievement for us. I think they need each other, Jonas Vingegaard and Tadej Pogacar, because they fight for wins and they match each other. And for me, the most poignant quote, I think the public deserves this spectacle of cycling at the moment. I wish to see more battles and it would be nice if Jonas can also race some classics together with Pogacar. If we make them fight not just in July but throughout the whole season, that would be fantastic. Interesting. I don't know what I'd think of that. Because I'm enjoying the fact that they're only battling once. It makes the grandeur of the situation a little more exciting. And it means that it won't get boring if one of them's dominant or you know what the result's going to be. For example, I think Pogacar would whoop Vingegaard in the Classics. But yeah, is that Gianetti playing mind games? Who knows? 3 riders are still up the road and there's a couple of rain spots on the camera. That's Stefan Küng for Groupama FDJ. They've not got a sprinter today, but I reckon somebody like Olivier Lejac or perhaps Kevin Genietz will go for it. Lejac has been in the top 20 of this stage before, snuck his way in. Perhaps, I think, doing a lead out for Demar back in 2020. But it looks like this group of 3 are going to try and hold out for as long as they can, but I think they're going to be reeled in as the streets are lined with Danish flags. Vingegaard has lit a new spark underneath Danish cycling. They've had to stick with Fuglsang for a while, but Jonas Vingegaard and Mads Pedersen as well have ignited this new era of Danish cycling. Magnus Kort's got himself involved as well, getting a few stages here and there as they round the Arc de Triomphe, and there will almost be 1.5 laps remaining. Frans Maassen, the Jumbo Visma director sportif, said he was really happy, but it wasn't a nice stage for us. There was a lot to lose today. It was a hectic stage. After the crash with Sepp Kuss, it was not so nice in the car anymore. You know what can happen to Sepp can also happen to Jonas Vingegaard. We felt really comfortable, but after the crash, it was not my nicest stage this tour. Sepp Kuss was still okay, and he would battle for the top 8. He was in a good condition, and he had good morale. Carlos Rodriguez's tyre exploded, and Sepp went over it. It wasn't a nice crash. But somebody who was enjoying it was Giulio Ciccone. Of course, the iconic image of him celebrating the King of Mountains points and sealing that jersey. He said, "I was a bit nervous because you arrive on the penultimate stage of the tour knowing you need to fight, win and pass over the mountains first. In the end, we had a perfect plan. My teammates worked perfectly for me. I need to say thanks to them because they did everything perfectly. Winning a jersey at the tour was one of my dreams when I started to ride a bike. Now it's true, so I'll really enjoy this jersey. Tomorrow in Paris with all my family and my wife will be one of the best days of my life for sure. Maybe in future I would like to try to win the King of the Mountains jersey at the Vuelta because I really like this type of jersey. I need to recover. To do it this year would be hard." Today was the best though, especially when they said on the radio, "If you take this point, you will win the jersey." I think at that moment I really realised that it was done, so that was a really good moment for me. The feeling is very strong. This jersey is for my team and my teammates because they made more than enough of an effort. And it was a good effort by the breakaway, but they have been reeled in now. Nelson Oliveira, Simon Clark and Frederick Frieson are no longer at the front of the race, and we have new attacks coming off the front. EF have ignited it, and Julian Alaphilippe has decided to follow. It looks like it's either Magnus Kort, I think it might be Magnus Kort, who's just trying to bridge up actually to this group of 3 who are up the road, so they haven't been reeled in yet. Kort and Alaphilippe making their way up, just over 10 kilometres to go until the end of this Tour de France and the end of the stage. So now a group of 5, there's a rider from DSM trying to cover that move. They're looking for Sam Welsford, you'd expect in the sprint today. But perhaps they're just making sure they have options there. They've got a rider now up the road, but it looks like this move is going to be neutralised by the peloton. There's about 3 or 4 bike lengths between the front of the race and the peloton, which is led, I think, by Alpecin de Koning as they go under the bridge for the penultimate time. Magnus Kort still deciding to press on. Simon Clark looking to follow the wheel. Frederick Frieson's done for the day though. Oliveira sits up as well. It's Kort and Simon Clark who have decided to hit out one more time, and it's Alpecin de Koning controlling the tempo again. 4 little Trek riders in behind in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th wheel. It's led by Matthias Skjelmose, so Skjelmose is being used once more in the sprint for Little Trek. Final 2 quotes then before we switch to the race, and the first one is from the yellow jersey, Jonas Vingegaard, who said, "It's really amazing. Of course, we have to be careful not to do anything stupid on the stage into Paris, but it's amazing to take my 2nd victory in the Tour de France. I almost can't believe it. It was definitely a crazy battle we had through the 3 weeks. It's been a really nice race to watch, and also for us. I really appreciate the battle I had with Tadej Pogacar this Tour de France. I enjoyed today and every day I had in the yellow jersey. Also today felt good on the bike. I've never been able to do this without my fantastic team. They have been there every day for me. They've done so well over the last 3 weeks. I'm happy for all of us, and it will be super nice tomorrow. We rode as a team, had a plan, and executed it every day like we wanted. I don't think I have any bad memories from this tour. I think everything went to plan, and I don't really have anything bad to say. Tadej Pogacar is a super great guy. It's been an amazing fight we've had since Bilbao, and hopefully also in the future. And Jai Hindley summed it up by saying, I definitely want to come back and see what else I can throw at this race. I want to be better in the GC. The dream is to be on the podium one day. It's going to take a lot of work to get there. We'll go back to the drawing board and we'll see what we can do to come back better next year. 8 kilometres to go, and it is all together. We had a little move from EF. I think Michael Kwiatkowski-Ineos was also in there, but it looks like that's been neutralised. Ciccone threw a rider up there just to control it. But yeah, Gruppo Compacto, the peloton are all together, and we are about to take the final lap and the bell, which will signify it. Attack from Ineos on the right-hand side. Lotto Destiny are looking to follow that one. Skjelmos is sticking to the tempo on the left. And it's Omar Fraile of Ineos Grenadiers who's gone. I think it's Pascal Inkhorn on the wheel of Fraile. Age Desert rider and Tim de Klerk are also there. It's actually Victor Campanaerts. So Victor Campanaerts has jumped in this move. He was on the attack at the start of the day. Arkea have also thrown a rider up there, but it's Skjelmose that's bringing this one back and doing it well for Lotto Destiny. Little Trek. They take the belt. Lilian Carmajan's day is done. He's out of the back of the peloton. And we're all back together once more. Big ride from Matthias Skjelmose to bring this one back for Mads Pedersen, who will have to thank him, I'm sure, if he does manage to take the win today. But de Klerk presses on for Soudal Quickstep, and here actually come Israel Premier Tech on the left-hand side. They're going to be going for Corbin Strong, you'd expect if they're in a sprint today. And they'll have the likes of Chris Nalons and Udo Uhl in leading him out. Guillaume Boivin will also be key, a rider who has performed well on the cobbles before in the likes of Paris-Roubaix. Biniam Diomaye is nestled in about 20th or so wheel. Mads Pedersen around 10th in line for Little Trek, and another attack on the left-hand side. It's Movistar this time. All of the teams without sprinters are looking to take on the peloton because they know the sprint teams aren't so stacked. Movistar and EF are making a move. But will it be able to stake the 6 kilometres of the day left? And the pace is incredibly high. The two riders join up then at the front of the race, and it's Soudal Quickstep actually chasing this one down. They're attacking, but they're bringing everybody else with them at the moment. There's a little bit of a gap that's formed, so 2 more riders have disappeared off of the front of the peloton, and they're looking to chase down the front two and make it a 4-rider group at the front of the race. Israel Premier Tech is still looking to control this, I think, for Corbin Strong, but they're finding it very difficult, and they're going to need some support. UAE have actually thrown a rider up there. Perhaps they're going for Trentin today. And Little Trek have already used a few of their riders, notably Matthias Skjelmose chasing down previous attacks. But the pace is infernal now, and the peloton is hugely stretched out. It snakes along the Rue de Rivoli. But EF continue. Alpecin de Koenig have sent a rider forward to mark that move. They've done this a couple of times and it's worked so far. It's still in Jasper Philipsen's hands at the moment. He'll have Mathieu van der Poel and Jonas Vingegaard, the trio that have dominated this Tour de France in sprint stages so far, with him to ensure that he perhaps takes the biggest win of this Tour for him on the Champs-Élysées. 3 riders up the front. One of them's just made a move off. Looks like it might be Asgreen who's giving it a go. But still being marked by Israel Premier Tech. This rider on the front for Israel has done a huge turn. UAE still sat second for Trentin. Perhaps Virgil Stekelengen's job will be leading out the Italian as they pass the finish line. They go side by side with it, and there is not long of today's stage remaining. 4 kilometres. Israel Premier Tech controlling at the front, looking around their right shoulder. Fred Wright is nestled in 10th or so wheel in a little bunch in the middle, but here come Uno X on the right hand side. They've sent 3 riders forward. They're going to be going for Alexander Kristoff. Cofidis have 2 riders to the front on the left hand side. They're leading the train. Alex Kirsch is third wheel on the left. He's got 2 little Trek riders behind him, one of which will be Pedersen. Through come Jaco Alula now on the left hand side. They've got Groenewegen for today. So all of the sprint teams are starting to get into colour order at the front of the peloton. Round the right-hander, they'll have 3 lefts actually. And then a quick left-right chicane before the final sprint, which will be into a headwind. So you'd want to be one of the later riders to exit the wheel. Which is another reason why so many of the sprint teams are trying to keep as many riders in their train as possible. Obviously, it's useful to have a sprint train anyway. But it's even more useful if they're going into a headwind. Jumbo Visma have settled off the back of the peloton. They're going to have their procession. Have they left Christophe Laporte up there? I don't think so. So Laporte isn't going to get his chance for Jumbo Visma. They're going to celebrate with Jonas Vingegaard. But it's Alex Kirsch on the front of the peloton. Less than 2.5 kilometres to go. There will be an important left-hand turn. And then they will go under the overpass. Out the other side, round Norwegian corner. And it will soon be time for the sprinters to hit the nitro button. Kirsch rounds the corner first then. Under the bridge they go. How will they emerge? Who will be up there and ready to sprint this one out? Look for the likes of the green jersey of Jasper Philipsen, the Jaco Alula jersey of Dylan Groenewegen, Mads Pedersen, his world champions bands. On the cuffs of the Little Trek jersey. And Little Trek, who are losing men hand over fist at the moment. They're cutting back to Jonas Vingegaard again. We need to show the front of the race. We don't really care about all of this procession with Vingegaard in the nicest way possible. But here comes Pogacar. Will his final action at this tour be leading out Matteo Trentin for the win? He comes forward on the right-hand side and he's pushing this peloton on. He's got a Bahrain victorious rider on the wheel. I don't know whether that's Mohoric. It's not Fred Wright, I can assure you of that. Uno X have 2 riders on the left-hand side, but it's Tadej Pogacar that's bringing them into the final kilometre. He pulls off around this left-hand turn. They've got a right, and then they're on to the final straight. Round they go then. It's time to be in the correct position. You've got to be front 10 to 15 wheels if you're a key sprinter involved. Sylvain Dillier is on the front for Alpecin-Deceuninck. He's setting the tempo at the moment. Bahrain victorious are trying to go on the right-hand side. Jasper Philipsen is tucked in nicely on the left. He's sat on Van der Poel's wheel, who goes now. Philipsen is stuck to the wheel of Van der Poel, fighting for it a bit with Groenewegen. Groenewegen's had to settle in behind Philipsen. Pedersen is also there on the wheel of Groenewegen, but it's Philipsen in prime position at the moment. Sat second wheel. Groenewegen goes early. He's trying to box Philipsen in. Philipsen elects to follow the wheel of Groenewegen. He's not got the initial jump. Groenewegen is away now. Philipsen goes on the right-hand side, but Groenewegen's through the middle. Groenewegen against Philipsen on the throw, and it was 4 wide. Jordi Meeus was on the left-hand side, and from left to right, it was Meeus, Pedersen, Groenewegen, Philipsen. There's mass discussion going on. I don't know whether Meeus actually managed to pull that one off. The big Belgian, the camera's following him, so they think he's done it. Jordi Meeus. If you'd have asked me for a Belgian to win today, he would have been second in line. The camera then flicks to Jasper Philipsen. I don't know what the word is. Congratulations being shared out to both of them. But that's the tightest finish we've had on the Champs-Élysées for a long while. Mathieu van der Poel was leading this one out on the front. Dylan Groenewegen goes to the left-hand side of Philipsen. Van der Poel kind of boxes Philipsen in. Philipsen elects to go to the left-hand side of his lead-out man. Pedersen comes through the middle, and they are both carrying the same amount of speed. Meeus goes fast on the left-hand side. Philipsen even faster on the right. It's Meeus. I think Meeus has got this. I think Jordi Meeus has won stage 21 of the Tour de France 2023. I'm going to wait for confirmation. In come Jumbo Visma. Sepp Kuss battered and bruised on the right. Plenty of bandages on him. But Jonas Vingegaard and his team embracing the crowd. Dutch champions jersey of Dylan van Baarle on the left. Vingegaard in the middle. Joined by Nathan van Hooijdonk. Tadej Pogacar to his right. And Vingegaard is a happy man. He is going to win the Tour de France 2023. And in they come. They have around 250 metres to go. This will be a nice slow walk in. But that's that. Jordi Meeus wins. And a shock result. BORA Hansgrohe take the stage. Jordi Meeus is the winner of stage 21 of the Tour de France. Celebrating with Marco Haller and Danny van Poppel. But now, arm in arm, Jumbo Visma cross the line. And Jonas Vingegaard will prepare his assault on the Vuelta a España. Nils Pollitt is beside himself with happiness. Bob Jungels has come over. The whole team are there. Anders Milch is trying to make his way in for an interview. But Jordi Meeus pulls it off. He's been in the mid-pack of the sprinters through this whole tour. But at the most important time, he's managed to beat the best. This has suddenly thrown Jordi Meeus up the tier list ranking that we're going to do very shortly. But Meeus wins the Tour. Well, no, Meeus doesn't win the Tour. Meeus wins the final stage of the Tour. Jonas Vingegaard wins the Tour de France itself. Here it is then. Meeus on the left-hand side with the bike throw. He throws very early, earlier than Philipsen. But Philipsen was not quick enough. It was very, very close on the line. Probably less than a tyre's width in it. Let's have a look at the photo. And it pretty much was a tyre's width that separated Jordi Meeus and Jasper Philipsen. Dylan Groenewegen was third, again by a tyre's width. Pedersen fourth. And that is that for the Tour de France 2023. But that isn't that for the stream. Otherwise, I'd be only streaming for 36 minutes, which would be a bit anticlimactic on this final stage. I was in a bit of a difficult situation because, I didn't want to put the stream on too early. So there was just nothing happening. But I didn't want to put it on too late. And I think I might have put it on too late, to be honest. But anyway, Jordi Meeus wins the stage. Although his finishing replay slow-mo, he was very confused. He didn't know whether he got it or not. And rightly so, because it was very, very close between Jordi Meeus and his Belgian counterpart, Jasper Philipsen. Philipsen does not manage to get it done. Jonas Vingegaard does, though. And here is the GC result. No, that's the Be Right Back screen. Here's the GC that was before today. So Jonas Vingegaard will have lost a bit of time, I think, on Tadej Pogacar. But Vingegaard wins by 7 minutes 29 from Tadej Pogacar. Adam Yates in third at 10.56. Simon Yates at 12.23 and fourth. Carlos Rodriguez fifth. Peo Bilbao in sixth. Jai Hindley seventh. Felix Gall in eighth. David Gaudu ninth. And Guillaume Martin in 10th. The other classifications, Pogacar wins the white jersey ahead of Carlos Rodriguez and Felix Gall. Jasper Philipsen, despite not winning the stage, will win the green jersey ahead of Mads Pedersen and Brian Coquart. And Giulio Ciccone wins the King of the Mountains jersey ahead of Felix Gall and Jonas Vingegaard in third. So that is that then. We're going to go on to tier listing probably in the next 5 minutes. I'm just going to read out some of my pre-stage quotes because I'm quite proud when I make them. Even though they're going to make no sense now because the stage is over. Ciccone said today is a special day. The party already started yesterday. I was a bit stressed out yesterday because we were really close in the King of the Mountains classification, but today I want to enjoy it to the fullest. Let's hope for the weather to stay okay and it's going to be a party. It's important because the jersey is prestigious, so I'm wearing it with great honour. It's difficult because the battle was on until yesterday, so nothing was taken for granted. In the past, this jersey has been won by the GC guys, so it's not been an easy one with the points system. But we managed to win it. It's a nice gift from Trek this morning. I got a polka dot bike and I will race it with great satisfaction. Another winner of a distinctive prize is Victor Campanaerts. He said the Combativity Award was never an objective in the Tour de France. It just came by itself. This last week we've been very offensive in the two flatter stages, then some journalists started asking questions and we thought maybe it was possible. Yesterday, me and Jasper Philipsen did an attack at the start to do a small publicity stunt for the Super Combativity. The last time there was a solo finish on the Champs-Élysées was Alexander Vinokourov in 2005. It's very hard to avoid a bunch sprint, but we'll see what we can do. When it is a bunch sprint, we have Jasper Philipsen. Some days ago, I was on the podium of the Tour de France with the Combatif du Jour. The day after, I was again Combatif du Jour. Most combative of the day, that is in English. That was already very special, but being on the podium in Paris will be a moment I will never forget. And Jonas Vingegaard, we are super happy and proud. I'm more confident and more relaxed in these situations, and that's the difference to last year. I think the rivalry is good for cycling with me and Tadej Pogacar. We challenge each other and we make each other better. I'm just happy that I turned out to be the winner. We didn't put a foot wrong, and I can only thank my teammates for this. We made the decision about riding the Vuelta in November last year, so it's been the plan the whole time. But now is the moment to break it. I'm really looking forward to the Vuelta as well. Of course, I'll enjoy today in the Tour de France, but in a week's time from now, I will start focusing on La Vuelta. That is going to be extremely juicy if he gives it a good go. So what did the sprinters of the day think? Mads Pedersen, 4th on the stage. The Champs-Élysées is the most important sprint of the Tour. The whole team has to stay focused and keep the right mentality for racing today, which I think they did. They chased down the attacks well, and they actually did a decent lead out. But they couldn't manage to get Pedersen in the right position at the right time. He was kind of freelancing it towards the end, but a lot of teams were. The whole team has to stay focused and keep the right mentality for racing today. If I manage to win on the Champs-Élysées before my career is over, it will be something nice to have. It would definitely be something special and one of the biggest wins I could take. I also have to have in mind that we have the World Championships in 2 weeks, so if it's fully wet and crazy, then we have to make a decision on taking part in the sprint or not. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it stays dry and we can have a good sprint. Trentin of UAE Team Emirates, let's have a look and see where he finished today. Matteo Trentin, because there was talk of him going for the sprint. At the end of today's stage, Matteo Trentin finished 13th for UAE Team Emirates. And he said, we started really well winning the yellow jersey with Adam Yates. We're here for winning, no secret about it, but we still have 2 guys on the podium. If you thought Tadej Pogacar was having an operation 2 months before today, it's quite impressive to have these guys standing on the podium of the Tour de France. Stage 19 was even worse than a classic. It was incredible, the speed was super high. But it's easy today, that's the stage we love the most. Sam Welsford didn't manage to get it done today and was 14th on the stage. He said, it's been brutal. There are days where you think, what's the point of even trying to finish? It's so hard. A lot of sprinters have stopped. It's hard for everyone and you've got to keep the motivation high. I've had the goal to get to Paris. It's good for me as a sprinter to develop. He said, it's been really tough. I was a bit emotional crossing the line that you're going to make it. But I've still got a job to do today. It's the dream race for every sprinter to win. I grew up as a kid watching the Champs-Élysées and watching the big sprinters win here. It's always been a dream of mine to race it and fight for the win. Hopefully we can get up there. He was absolutely right by saying it's also going to be a tricky day with lots of teams not being able to control because there aren't many sprint teams left. A lot of sprinters have stepped off, so we'll be on our toes. Did Matej Mohoric get the winner correct? No, he said, I think Jasper Philipsen will win the sprint if it comes down to a sprint. It was very emotional this year. We've been super successful with the team. What happened to Gino brought us closer and made us more determined to show our strength and help us overcome this. Here's the finish of the stage then, and the results. Jordi Meeus wins for BORA Hansgrohe, ahead of Jasper Philipsen in second for Alpecin-Deceuninck. Dylan Groenewegen is third, with Mads Pedersen fourth. Kees Bol doing well to finish fifth for Astana Kazakhstan. Biniam Girmay is sixth for Intermarché Circus Wanty. Coquart in seventh for Cofidis. Werenskjold in eighth for Uno X. So they didn't sprint with Christoph today. Corbin Strong in ninth, and Luca Mozzato is 10th. Peter Sagan in 11th. Yves Lampard 12th. Matteo Trentin 13th. Samuelsson 14th. And Michael Mercu in 15th. Hauser and Kalmajan finished 18th on this stage then. Anyway, that is that for the Tour. Campanaerts and Du Bois crossed arm in arm, I'm sure. Being roomies. They've been a highlight of the race for me. Just their little silly vlogs after each stage. But yeah, on to the Vuelta, and hopefully Pogacar will ride it. If he does, then absolute scenes. Right, on to the tier list then.